Ooh, and welcome back to Black Power Blueprint Live on this New Year's Day, 2019. Our live and Happy New Year! Revolutionary greetings to all of our listeners and supporters. You're watching our live web show broadcast here. It's every first and third Tuesday at our Black Power Blueprint YouTube channel. And please do subscribe to the Black Power Blueprint YouTube channel and get notifications. Please share this historic event tonight. I am Jamie Simpson from the Black Power Blueprint Reparations Committee, and I'm honored to be here tonight at the beautiful Aquaba Hall in St. Petersburg, Florida, at the Uhuru House, 18th Avenue South, 1245 in St. Petersburg, Florida. And tonight I am extremely honored to welcome everyone back to this show and to have here with us Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the leader and co-founder of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the African Socialist International. Chairman Omali Yeshitela is the visionary leader who has worked tirelessly for the past 50 years for the total liberation of Africa and African people under the leadership of the African working class. For more than 50 years. Uhuru, and welcome Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru. And we are also very honored tonight to have with us Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela, who is the coordinator of the Black Power Blueprint Project in St. Louis, Missouri, which is absolutely outstanding. Deputy Chair Omali leads a huge office with scores of comrades. Her office coordinates more than 25 economic institutions that the party has had on the ground throughout the U.S., some of which have been in existence for more than 30 years. Welcome and Uhuru, Deputy Chair Omali. We are also honored, very honored to have with us tonight Director Akile Anayi, a member of the African People's Socialist Party's Central Committee and the director of the party's Department of Agitprop. Akile also directs a large department that covers the publication and distribution of the Burning Spear newspaper and the chairman's collected works and books, along with the Black Power 96.3 FM radio station right here in the Uhuru House, and much, much more. So also Akile was the one who waged a powerful electoral campaign for city council last year in 2017, along with Comrade Jesse Neville, a mayoral candidate, under the slogans of unity through reparations and radical solutions for radical times. So Uhuru, and welcome Director Akile. And we also have with us tonight the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the white organization of the African People's Socialist Party working for white people's reparations to African people. Welcome, and Uhuru, Chairwoman Penny Hess.
Uhuru. It's so powerful to be here. I just want to unite and say revolutionary Happy New Year. That this is the year that the world is being changed completely by the leadership of the African Revolution, the African working class struggling for the unification of Africa and African people everywhere. So I want to start with also saluting Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who is my leadership as well, and Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela, who leads so many of us from the African People's Solidarity Committee in the economic work. So this is going to be dynamic, and salute Director Akile Anayi, and you, Jesse, and everybody who's watching. This is going to be a very, very dynamic. We're going to have the opportunity to hear Chairman Omali Yeshitela sum up the significance of this past year and the prospects for this coming year and what we're going to be seeing as the crisis of imperialism deepens and the strength of the Black Power movement, the African liberation movement, gets stronger and stronger every day all around the world. And I just want to say that as the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, I wanted to explain and make it clear that that is the organization of white people that the African People's Socialist Party has strategically placed in the white community as an extension of the African liberation movement into the heart of white power. And it's based on the understanding that we as white people sit on the pedestal of the oppression of African people, that our whole existence comes at the expense of the enslavement of African people, of colonialism around the world, of genocide against the indigenous people in this country, and that all white people owe reparations to African people. And this is an exciting night because this is the start of our second year of doing these web events and having such profound support from so many people all over the US and all over the world who have been profoundly moved by the Black Power blueprint in St. Louis. And, you know, I just wanted to start by saying that we're going to show our new video, and I want you to go to blackpowerblueprint.org, and you can see all the videos, all the pictures, the whole development of this project. There's so much. There's the story of the Black Power Blueprint on there, and you know, it's just so much information, and there is no project like it. And how this got started is it's led by Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela, and back in 2017 now,
Yeah.
you know, she went to St. Louis for a short visit and, you know, really moved with the party's strategy for building dual and contending power, and, you know, started with revolutionary property acquisition of properties that were owned by the city of St. Louis on the north side. And this was, you know, just following by a few years the rebellions that happened in Ferguson, which is basically the north side of St. Louis as well, following the police murder of Mike Brown in 2014. And, you know, it was just incredible rebellions, and the party went there, the chairman went there, and organized and won so many forces. And President Columbine, who is born in St. Louis and now leads the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, was formed, and it's just being transformed, because the north side of St. Louis is, as we will see, lives in stark contrast as a colony compared to the conditions of the white part of St. Louis, which are two distinct cities that exist there. So, you know, we're going to see the different projects, the transformation of the Uhuru House from a basically abandoned, falling down. It didn't have a roof, I don't think. The back of it, the brick was falling off. It was actually condemned, but Deputy Chair turned it into an amazing state-of-the-art building that is the center of all these projects. And of course, across the street, with your help and the support of people all around the country and the world, we were able to raise the resources for the buildings across the street to be demolished, and that is going to be where the One Africa, One Nation marketplace is going to be coming up in this year. And an amazing flagpole, I think is it 25 feet flag?
50 feet.
50 feet flagpole with a 25-foot flag is flying there, and we're going to see that on the video as well. So, you know, it's been an incredible journey, and it was so rapid, this rapid transformation, and there's so much more coming up in 2019, because this is when it's beginning to, the Black Power Blueprint and the Deputy Chair, they're beginning to work on the building that's going to be the GECO kitchen. That's going to be incredible. So we're going to be talking about that. And to say that during this year, that we have raised over $66,000 just on the front of the crowdfunding sites alone. And that is just a powerful outpouring of support from hundreds and hundreds of you, just regular people who see a positive future in the Black Power Blueprint. We've also, you know, want to salute all of you who are participated in the birthday fundraisers, which has been a tremendous way that your relatives and your friends and, you know, whatever, your high school, you know, classmates, all kinds of people can donate to this project, just in a really mass way on Facebook. And then we also just finished our Giving Tuesday campaign. That was Tuesday, November 27th, and that raised, you know, just I think $14,000 from the support of so many people who went to their friends and families for that. So we want to thank all of you for that tremendous support. And today we're beginning our phase 3 that has a goal of $20,000, and this is going to go in particular towards these projects. And the building that's going to be the GECO kitchen in particular, but there are many other things as well. Our goal is to raise $20,000 by the end of March, and we can do this because we did it last year, we can do it again. And our goal tonight is to raise $1,000 here at blackpowerblueprint.org. So if there, if 50 people can give $20, that's fine. But we already have a $100 donation tonight from Lisa Watson.
All right, Uhuru, Lisa.
Really want to thank you for that, and I also wanted to say that that the African People's Solidarity Committee is going to put in $100 tonight. So we're $200 over. And I want to call on anybody that's out there that can match these $100. We'd only need 8 more of those. So anybody else that can match $100, go ahead and put it in as a stand of reparations to African people from the white population. Put it in at blackpowerblueprint.org. So I also wanted to say that if you put in $500 tonight or anytime, you get an amazing t-shirt right here. That is the give back for the $500. And if you put in $1,000, as several people, quite a few people have done, you will get this amazing hoodie with the Black Power Blueprint on it. We would send that right out to you and really appreciate it. So we want to show those, and we will remind you of those give backs tonight. So go to blackpowerblueprint.org.
Chairwoman, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Robert Wood, who's put in $25 already. Thank you. And we want to
say Robert Wood contributes almost every week, and we really want to salute you, Robert, for taking a fantastic stand of, putting in and taking a stand of reparations to African people.
Really is impressive, comrade. Thank you. And our comrade Renee Nassar also put in $20. So Uhuru, and thank you, comrades. Keep it coming. blackpowerblueprint.org. And like us on our Black Power Blueprint YouTube channel, which we will be building in the upcoming year. Like us on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube as well, and sign up to get notifications. And please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Uhuru.
So I think we're going to show a video now.
Oh, yes, we are. Uhuru, thank you, Penny. So before we start our interview, let's watch the 2019 video put together by Comrade Kyle Weiss.
North of the infamous Delmar Divide is the other St. Louis, where 70% of those living in poverty are African, and hunger is a daily reality. The Black Power Blueprint has brought real hope back to this community, opening up opportunities for economic development and the revival of African culture, for which St. Louis is famous. Last year, with tremendous worldwide support and community volunteers, an abandoned and dilapidated building at 4101 West Florissant was rapidly transformed into a thriving Uhuru House Community Center. Condemned buildings across the street from the Uhuru House were demolished, and the lot will soon be paved and fenced with lighting for the One Africa, One Nation community marketplace. A 50-foot flagpole was erected on this land, flying a 25-foot red, black, and green African flag. Renovations on the 3rd floor of the Uhuru House are wrapping up for additional office and program space, with insulation, drywall, and mudding and taping. In the next few weeks, the wiring, plumbing, and flooring will be completed in a 4-plex apartment building, earmarked for housing for our African Independence Workforce Program, creating jobs for those re-entering our community from the prison system. We will upgrade all bathrooms and kitchens, install stoves, refrigerators, cabinets, and fixtures, and the apartments will be furnished. Other projects for Phase 3 include architectural plans, new roofing, and new windows for the beautiful Gico Kitchen, located in an Art Deco building on Goodfellow Boulevard that had once been a boat dealership. As our most ambitious project so far, GCO will include a cafe, bakery, community kitchen, and the headquarters of Uhuru Foods and Pies, one of the 26 economic institutions of the Black Star Industries and African People's Education and Defense Fund around the U.S.
This is not just to set up some kind of institution. This is a project in the hands of the African working class, and the class has to have power for us to be free.
This life-changing project is coordinated by Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela.
It is really inspiring to see how much the people love this project and looking forward to the marketplace and all the other projects. This is a positive response to gentrification because it's about more than just keeping our community. It's about building economic self-reliance for our community. The Black Power Blueprint is economic power in the hands of the African working class. Donate to this unique project, which is changing the world day by day.
All right. Uhuru, and welcome back to Black Power Blueprint Live. I want to salute that video of the Black Power Blueprint, its status, and just an amazing piece. So Uhuru to all the forces that went into making that, and to Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela for coordinating that amazing work in St. Louis. And now I will turn it over to Deputy Chair Omali.
Uhuru comrades, I just want to really congratulate the Black Power Blueprint, and as you've heard, at the end of 2018, we really raised over $66,000. So that is great, and we really want to recognize everybody. So by now, you should have gotten your thank you letter as well as a calendar for 2019 from the Black Power Blueprint. We sent them out to all of our donors. And we also wrapped up 2018 with trying to complete the 3rd floor of the Uhuru House. We got all the drywall up, we got all the painting done, we got the wood varnished and ready to go. Now we're ready to put our offices upstairs on the 3rd floor of the Uhuru House. So we really moving forward with this project. And the biggest thing at the end of the year is what we did was we reinitiated the Black Power Blueprint Steering Committee. Now we have over 20 people in that steering committee.
Wow.
Yes, it's going to be very powerful because what we did was we recognized that the Black Power Blueprint is not just in St. Louis. We want to expand it out to different regions. So within the subcommittees, we have the Outreach Subcommittee, which is led by Comrade Musa, who's only 19 years old, out of Chicago. He's in St. Louis now building, and we're going to bring a lot of outreach to the African community. Charles Oliver, who is our senior graphic designer, he's going to be designing all the literature that's going to be put out around the Black Power Blueprint. And we have other areas that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing tabling, we're going to be doing media, social media, we're going to be doing recruitment and door-to-door. So that subcommittee is really going to be building the outreach capacity to bring the Black Power Blueprint to everybody in the whole world. And working closely with the outreach is going to be the N2U Volunteer Brigade. I'm really, really excited about this particular subcommittee, which is led by Comrade Chichara Masimba out of St. Louis. We want to bring the volunteer brigade to everyone, and we recognize that volunteers is the heart of our organization. So we really want to build this subcommittee where we can bring all of our programs, including the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace. Another subcommittee that we're going to be looking at is Uhuru GCO, which is going to be led by Bakri Olatunji out of Oakland, California. We're going to be developing the plan for our national distribution system to transport and produce Uhuru pies in all the economic regional hubs all over the world. So this is another subcommittee that we're going to be establishing. And we're also going to be establishing the regional hubs the Buy Black Power campaign, which is going to bring all the economic institutions of the party and APDF all together. We're going to be having Uzi in all the furniture stores, in Zenzele, in all the Uhuru houses. We're going to have decolonized in all our institutions as well. We're going to be bringing the Black Power Blueprint patches, Uhuru Planet, everything that we have, including Uhuru publications with all the chairman's books and writings and everything. We're going to bring them under one hub, and that's going to be called the Buy Black Power campaign. So we're really, really excited about that. Also, the Vanguard 7 lipstick was a limited collection for the Congress. We're going to be bringing that also into the fold as well. And we're going to also be building the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace Subcommittee, which is going to be led by Comrade Tiffany Murphy out of Philadelphia. We're going to be building the Mass APDF Committee for that, and we're going to be coordinating the Black Power Blueprint, Buy Black Power Blueprint campaign out of that as well. And we're going to produce a POA in the process for all the different regions, the Southern region, the Northern region, the Midwest region, to have their own One Africa, One Nation marketplace. Wow. And we want to create a plan to do a second flea market in Philadelphia. The other committees we have is, of course, the donor campaign, the One Africa, One Nation donor campaign, which is going to be developing and carrying out the best practices for donors. We're going to be looking at retention and development and also appreciation. So we're going to be developing the manuals, the policies and procedures to be carried out for all the revenue streams, including APDF, the One Africa, One Nation marketplaces, and Uhuru Solidarity. So these are some of the projects that we're going to be building, subcommittees we're going to be building in 2019. We got a very powerful committee, and also Chairwoman Penny is going to be coming on board with the funding committee as a subcommittee as well. So we are really ready to launch 2019 bigger and better than ever. So wow. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You know, I never have the opportunity to really interview the chairman, and tonight I get that opportunity to do that. So, Uhuru Chairman.
Uhuru Comrade.
So in 2018 was an incredible year. The Black Power Blueprint and building so much in St. Louis. The Party Congress, the 7th Congress, our trip to Africa. I just want to send a salute to the comrades in South Africa, Chairman Tafari, Asada. You know, we're just really, really excited about the work that's coming out of Africa and so much more. Can you say something about the victories of the party and the significance of the past year?
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate everything that has transpired in this webinar up to now. I think I appreciate the video that we just looked at and also this discussion that talks about the breadth and depth of our movement of the African People's Socialist Party. The work that we have done and that we do all around the world. The work that we do even in the townships in South Africa. The work that we do in Ghana. In West Africa, the work that we've initiated in Kenya and East Africa, the work that we do throughout Europe, particularly but not exclusively, in England, and then the party organization that's happening in France. I think it's really important to recognize that this is a movement that, and a party that is responsible for rebuilding a revolutionary project that was disrupted by the U.S. government and other governments from around the world. We are beginning, for example, a Uhuru Congo YouTube channel because we are engaged in Congo. We have the Secretary General of the African Socialist International was born in Congo, and we are intending to engage in that struggle, which has reached a really important level of development right now. So I think it's important that we acknowledge all of the work in the various locations where we are doing this. And also, I think that when we talk about 1918, that we're looking at the culmination of 50 years of work that's been done by the African People's Socialist Party. That the United States government, using every scheme, every opportunity, allied with the governments of European powers that were killing us in Africa, that assassinated Che in Bolivia and South America, that overthrew Nkrumah, that murdered Lumumba in Congo, and then set out in a vicious, murderous campaign of our revolutionary movement inside this country. We are not supposed to be having this discussion today. But the reason we're having this discussion today is because the African People's Socialist Party defied all of that.
Yes.
And we are here, where so many have fallen off. We've watched all kinds of treachery that was initiated against our movement overall. You know, somebody had to get King out on that balcony for him to die. People who cooperated in killing Malcolm X from inside the organization. We've had snitches and informants and provocateurs who've done stuff to try to disrupt the work and discredit the party. And that was typical of what happened to our movement in the 1960s, but we are here.
Yes.
And the black movement in this country and around the world is much better off as a consequence of our having succeeded in building from more than 2 generations, when everything else, when the land had been made bare in terms of revolutionary activity. We have been here on the case, defying everything. And guess what? In addition to that, the thing that makes this so important is in the 1960s, when the US government destroyed our movement, generally speaking, it had reached a really important point where questions of class, even in the struggle for national liberation, had begun to emerge. That was the significance in part of the Black Panther Party. That was the significance in part of JOMO, the Hunter Militant Organization, which was one of the precursors of the African People's Socialist Party. And one of the things that we discovered throughout this process and throughout this work in the early years of the African People's Socialist Party is just because everybody black don't mean that they're for the black working class.
Yes.
And they can be for their black working rhyme with class, but they're not for the African working class. And this is a reality that we've had to deal with for years and years, and we've overcome most of that. And we have a really incredible movement, a credible party, a loyal base of forces throughout the world. And of course, that is reflected in what we're talking about today. And all of this, we're looking at the campaigns, the Black Power Blueprint, the work that's being done in St. Louis, the work that's being done in St. Petersburg, the work that's been done in Houston, Texas, the work that's been done in London, the work that's been done in Paris, the work that's been done in South Africa, the work that's been being done in Kenya, the work that's emerging in Ghana. All of this is a consequence of having dedicated people who love the revolution, who love black people, who love black power, and who love the African People's Socialist Party so much that they have not been pushed around or dissuaded by any efforts by agents and snitches and snakes who have too often been sent into the ranks of movements to try to destroy and discredit them. So we are here.
Yes.
And I want to say that in terms of, this is an amazing campaign, the Black Power Blueprint. We just said something about that. And we continue to talk about it because this is part of what we're raising resources to build. But this is not just some kind of campaign to raise somebody's individual statue or something like that. The entire community of St. Louis is being raised up as a consequence of what we're doing. Anybody who is familiar with St. Louis, anybody who's in St. Louis, especially in the African community, has had to experience the impact of the Black Power Blueprint, to see at a place where people are being pushed out of our communities, pushed out of our homes, and gentrification playing an extraordinary, devastating role in undermining all our communities, to see the emergence of this first of all, the Uhuru House on 4101 at Florissant, West Florissant. And what was a building that had been abandoned, 9,000 three-story building had been abandoned for maybe 18, 20 years or so, and to see that rehabilitated right in the middle of the community and what that means for the entire community. and how the entire community has been uplifted as a consequence of that flag. And to be there and see traffic stopping in the African community, and people bringing their children out and taking pictures of the flag and having their children to stand up and experience it. This is what our movement is about. This entire communities. It's not about me. It's not about any particular individual. It's raising up the community, empowering African people. That's what we've been doing up to now. And that's just one of the places. Of course, if we talk about St. Petersburg, Florida, we can make similar claims for how our work has been going. We talk about, I was mentioning South Africa, because we have a very, very real serious affinity for the work there. And partially because South Africa is critical to the African Revolution, to the entire continent, because white people plan to live there and keep it as their own. We saw all the white world sending all kinds of money and resources there to build it up. And it became this power in Southern Africa that was used to intimidate and dominate other areas of Africa, and all kinds of wealth was accumulated there. And industry emerged there. And now we're talking about the African people having an opportunity to take power there. Because power has not yet come to the African people there. It has come to the African National Congress, which we've been saying for years, for ages, even before the so-called negotiated settlement that allowed Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress to come to some semblance of power. That was not the revolution. And of course, anybody who's familiar with South Africa now knows that wasn't a revolution. When you see 45, 50% of unemployment, you see the white people who supposedly lost the revolution better off than the Africans who supposedly won the revolution, with only a handful of black people who are now in power. And we've seen those kinds of black people before. We've seen them moving in for their own interests, and they did that in South Africa. They've done that with every revolutionary movement that's ever occurred, for themselves, for their own interests. And that's what we've seen in South Africa. Now we have this emergence there, and like I said, one of the things that makes it so important is because South Africa, because they did build it up. And so in South Africa, once we accomplish power in South Africa as a part of the overall African Revolution, then it can really expedite the ability to industrialize the rest of Africa, as well as these reparations that we're collecting in this process will contribute to industrializing the rest of Africa as well. So this is part of what makes South Africa so important to us. And we've been working with the South African question for more than 30 years. We were there before the so-called negotiated settlement. We've appeared at the United Nations supporting forces who were trying to make this work happen in South Africa, and we've been on the ground. And when we're on the ground in South Africa, we're on the ground in the townships. And this is something that most people don't know. You see the big buildings in South Africa, and you see the fancy clubs and restaurants and things like that, and well-dressed African people riding in big cars and etc. But in the townships, where the majority of our people live, that's not what you see. That's where we are located. That's where the power is. And so we're involved there. And I think that's extremely important. And we look at the question of Africa. We're also talking about what Garvey talked about. And that's what all of this is about, is building an independent, anti-colonial kind of economy that will embrace the entire African world. And this is the process that we have been working on. And we say, we've got what? How many? More than 20 some odd economic institutions right here in the United States. We're in the process of initiating export-import process in Africa that will connect the African communities here in the United States and Europe and even in the Caribbean with Africa. This is the kind of work we've been done, and this is part of the victories that you're talking about. The 7th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party that just happened in October was an extraordinary victory. And we saw African people who came from everywhere and came from communities. When you're building a party the way we have been building a party subsequent to the defeat of the revolution, it's all been a rebuilding process. They killed off our leaders, they destroyed our organization, they chased many of them into exile, so it's been a rebuilding process now for more than 2 generations. And when you're building like this, you have people who don't have political experience, And then you don't know who you're recruiting. When you're recruiting people, you haven't had an opportunity to learn yet about a lot of the forces, but we got good forces who have been recruited and who have assumed leadership roles. Not everybody has been good, but you can't tell that until when you first recruit them. You were hoping for the best in the forces, but we have to keep moving forward. And so when you talk about the victories of the party and the significance of the past year, we are talking about Black Power Blueprint. We are talking about the work that's initiated, especially in South Africa. We are talking about, just in the last few days, the reemergence of the party in Ghana. We are talking about the incredible work that is being attempted by the young comrade in Kenya. And we are talking about a reinvigorated party presence in Paris. This is something that's happening even as we have this discussion. And we are talking about everyday people attempting to come into the African People's Socialist Party, and we're in the process of bringing them in. So it's been an incredible era. 2018 was an extraordinary era of struggle, not without bumps, not without hiccups. That always occurs, but we have been moving forward. And I want to say one of the most important things about 2018, I think, of course, has been the ascendancy of some comrades, new comrades into the leadership of the party, not the least of whom is Director Akile Anai, who is with us here. And she has done, in a very short period of time, she has solved so many problems that's been associated with this huge department. Agipop is a huge department. It's a radio station, it's a newspaper, it's publications where we're doing books and things like that. It is an online magazine. It is the political education for the entire party organization. It is the development of cadre, what have you, inside the organization. It's the political education of the masses of the people. And that is something, this is what I mean in terms of you bring forces in and you give them an opportunity to lead, and those who want to lead will lead. And that's what Comrade Akile has done. Her commitment to the revolution is something that you can see in what is developed with the Black Power 96.3, the radio station, the development of the Burning Spear newspaper, and other aspects of the work. So I probably over-talked that. But this is some of what I think we're looking at when we look at the victories and the work of the party in the last, in 2018. Uhuru.
Thank you, Chairman, for that. I just want to also add that one of the things that we are also developing along with the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace is also the community, the Gary Brooks Community Garden in St. Louis. He was one of the first persons that I was able to meet when I came to St. Louis. And, he just was, he came over, we had no bathroom, we had no electricity, we had no running water. He would bring over water. People would break in. He's also a welder. So he built the steel doors for us and put them up so people would stop breaking in. And then the same people that would break it in, now those same people are also embracing the community because they know why we're there. We're not just there to extract resources, we're there to bring resources. So I just want to put out the Gary Brooks Community Garden. We started to already plant, apple trees and pear trees. So we're going to be growing food in the garden in the One Africa, One Nation Marketplace, and we want everybody to participate. So if you want to be involved in the Black Power Blueprint, contact myself, go on our website and donate to blackpowerblueprint.org. This is a dynamic campaign, and we're not just stopping in St. Louis, we're building everywhere. Because even, Chairman, people have been, contacting us and they want to duplicate this in their cities as well. So, the Black Power Blueprint is not just stationed in St. Louis, it's going to be built all over the world. So, Chairman, you have predicted so much about what we are actually seeing in the crisis of imperialism in the news today with the Trump administration on every front. You call this an uneasy equilibrium. Chairman, can you sum this up for us and how you think it will play out in this coming year?
Well, you know, when we talk about an uneasy equilibrium, we're talking about a real contest that's happening right before the eyes of the peoples of the world between the past and the future. Mm-hmm. And the past has been one of imperial colonial domination of the peoples of the world that represents itself in tremendous poverty, joblessness, homelessness, just the worst kinds of conditions. We were talking earlier about this past. It's represented in the fact that in Kenya alone, the British killed something like 300,000 African people and committed the worst kinds of atrocities. These tea-sipping examples of European gentility. You know, this is what they have done. This is the past. All of this stuff where you have, as we often say, you know, 80% of the people on earth trying to survive off $10 US or less a day, and 50 off $2.50 a day. In Africa, in our dear Africa, the richest continent on earth in terms of natural resources, people lucky if they get one meal a day. That's the past. We're saying, in this contest that we're involved in, that the party is a vanguard in bringing into existence. This contest is for the liberation of humanity. It's for the liberation of the working and oppressed peoples of the world. It's to get rid of colonialism in all of its forms. That's what this Black Power Blueprint, that's what this process is about. And this is the future. And this struggle, where you see this tipping of the scales, where the imperial powers clearly do not have things just as they used to have them going the way they want them to go. Where the emergence of even contending forces like China, contending forces like Russia, challenging the ability of the imperialists to do things in the same old way anymore. The emergence of oppressed people in Afghanistan determined to put their own fingerprints, their own handprint on their future in Iraq, in Syria, and all these other places around the world. And I'm not trying to characterize any of these struggles as revolutionary as such. What gives them their revolutionary character is that they are challenging and changing the status quo of the imperial domination. And imperialists, the white man, cannot do things in the same old way. And then the future that we are looking at is the future of a free people, of people free from colonial domination, people free from capitalist exploitation, and moving toward a different kind of world. That's the uneasy equilibrium. And you see that thing being manifested even in the United States and the Trump administration and the war that's happening among these thieves. Because what happens is that you find that it becomes increasingly difficult for the imperialists to continue to strangle people and take their resources when they are struggling. And so now they're competing with each other more, and it's causing greater crisis. And they are even pushing people, what they call immigrants, out of the country who are there precisely because of colonialism. And so, you know, this is part of what we're looking at. And then the Trump administration, the whole organization of the capitalist order, the way things have been run for the last 70 years around this thing they've called the Atlanticist bloc, that is being shattered with Trump attacking NATO, with Trump attacking UN, and this is important because the Atlanticists came into existence in the first place in part to contain what was then Soviet Russia. And then it was to make sure that Germany didn't kick off another war in Europe. And so now what you see is with the end of the Soviet Union, there is no legitimate basis for continuing the Atlanticist relationship. But NATO is there, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. United Nations was there, this entity that was created for the purpose of the white people, dominant people of the world, to be able to control the world collectively through this process. And so all of this is at stake. Everything is being shaken up, and the Trump administration is sort of in the vanguard of trying to create a new arrangement, and it's creating distress even among the ruling class, who have tried to contain Trump by putting their own forces in his administration, because Trump didn't have a party. He didn't have access to these learned forces, these people who've been in government before. So the ones who've been in government before, the traditional capitalists, they're the ones who fill the ranks of Trump's administration. And they are the ones who've been trying to constrain Trump, to try to keep him with doing things the same old way. And of course, you see what's happening with that. And then you've got a sector of the ruling class that's making every effort to constrain Trump in other ways, legally. They challenge him and even attacking his foundation, his businesses, and things like that. And every day you read a newspaper, go to the news, you see there's a new attack that's being made on this administration by sectors of the bourgeoisie. And so it's a real shaky proposition that they're confronted with. White power is not the same as it used to be. It will never be the same as it used to be. And the peoples of the world are determined that it won't be the same as it used to be. So not only are they fighting in Afghanistan, not only people fighting in North Africa and Iraq and places like that, in Syria, but they've also bringing this fight to France. And they're bringing the fight, directed to the streets of England and Belgium and all these other places. So it's a really shaky proposition. And change is afoot. And the question is whether or not people want to get on the right side of this.
So do you think that the election that happened in 2016 will mirror the election that's going to be coming up in 2020?
I think that it's really interesting to watch, because one thing you're looking at is a really fragmented and split ruling class. The ruling class is split because of, again, this competition that is escalating among them for what can be attained as the peoples of the world are trying to take back their resources. And that's why there were 17 Republicans who were running for the nomination. That's why there were more than 5 Democrats vying for that. And the thing is that there is nobody they can look at. I mean, as the ruling class is fractured, so is the so-called electorate fractured. So you got maybe 35% diehard people who follow Trump. And then you've got, other people, the Me Too people, which is nothing but the Democratic Party in skirts. And, you've got other, manifestations. So it's going to be hard to see. It's difficult to say how this thing is going to happen. But 2 years is a long time. Yeah. Even though they've begun running right now, 2 years is a long time. Given the climate that we are living with today, 2 years. I mean, Trump is moving in fashions, or the Trump administration, I should say U.S. imperialism, because I don't want to play into this thing like the demon Trump. Trump represents particular class and economic interests in this country. He gave trillions of dollars away in tax breaks and things like that, and creating the so-called budget deficit. And the budget deficit serves a political purpose as well as an economic purpose, because it creates the justification of cutting off welfare, cutting off all the so-called social safety networks, because they can say they don't have the money. They don't have the money because Trump gave it to the billionaires and things like that. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be it's not going to be the same, and you're going to see massive struggle. And it's not going to be just this Me Too kind of stuff. And it's not just going to be intellectual Negroes and stuff like that. We're going to see massive struggle coming from the bottom, coming from the roots of the society in this country. And guess what? This country is connected to the events that's happening every place else in the world. The peoples of the world have now been put in a situation where struggle is the only option that we've got. And we will see the emergence, I believe, of a revolutionary period unlike anything that's happened before. I like to say that the 60s that people sometimes remember nostalgically, and others from video footage, was just a dress rehearsal. The real thing is before us right now.
Thank you, Chairman. So what can you tell us about the possibilities for the African working class, the Black Power Blueprint, and the African Socialist International for 2019?
Well, I think the possibilities are great. I mean, I didn't even mention much of what it is that we're about, but Black Power Blueprint, what Black Power Blueprint does, it gives everybody an opportunity to participate in the revolution. And I know that might sound profound to some people, because some people can, the last vision of revolution that come to some minds from the 1960s is Che Guevara and other people with AK-47s and other kinds of weapons, and I'm not, and that's, you're going to see that again too. But the fundamental question that we are confronted with, the ones that Che didn't have a grip on, the one that most of the revolutionary forces of the world didn't have a grip on, is that the whole imperialist foundation is colonialism. And what they are stealing from the peoples of the world. You and I are sitting right here at this table in St. Petersburg, Florida, as a part of the process of creating capitalism. We were stolen. The whole capitalist edifice, the whole capitalist system is based on parasitic and stuff that was stolen, taken from other, they call it trade. They call it trade when they went to China 1841-42 and said, we want to trade opium for tea. And the Chinese said, we like tea, we don't like opium, we don't. So they call it the Opium War, where England fought China and forced China to do it. They call that trade. They call what happened to us, you heard the slave trade. And this is trade. This is the economic foundation of this country, of the whole social system. So now what we're talking about is extracting the value that's been attached to them, that they've been stealing from us. This is a revolutionary project. The Black Power Blueprint is a revolutionary project. You don't have to pick up an AK-47 to participate in this. You can pick up your checkbook. You can take out your credit card. You can go and donate and participate in some of the work that we're doing. And this is a part of a revolutionary project, a revolutionary process that could not even be understood in the 1960s, because we didn't have access to African internationalism the way we do now. And African internationalism teaches us that the entire foundation of the social system is colonialism, and what they can continue to extract in terms of wealth and resources from the rest of the world, take it back from them, and their stuff crash. Yeah. That is going to be the victory over capitalism, over colonial capitalism. So that's what we're looking at.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
Deputy Chair, thank you so much, and we'll be coming back to the Chairman in a few minutes. But I mean, this was so profound, and such a profound way to look at what we just have been through in 2018 and how the party is going forward in 2019. And I just really want to salute the African People's Socialist Party. For 50 years, I mean, there is nothing like this party any place in the world. There was nothing that has the leadership of the African working class in many continents, many countries throughout the world, throughout the United States, with, what it's saying, 25, 26, or probably more institutions, economic institutions, part of the program for self-reliance and economic control, liberation, and the ability of African people to have institutions that serve the revolution. The first time that that's happened since the Garvey movement. And in many ways, I don't think the Garvey movement had as many institutions as the African People's Socialist Party has right now on the ground. There is no place in the world that has a political understanding, African internationalism, that lets not only the African working class, but everybody, including us, of white people in solidarity, who are part of under the leadership of the party, part of the party's strategy to extend the African revolution into the white community by winning other white people to begin, first of all, to see the world as everybody else on this planet experiences it through the eyes of the African working class. That is reality. That is the real world, and it is an incredible honor to be able to experience that. I mean, the chairman was just talking about, before this event happened tonight, he was reading from the article that he just talked about a little bit about what the British did to the Africans of Kenya. And that's just one place in Africa, because you could go to any inch. All of Africa is soaked in the blood of African people, and it goes on today. Yes. Talk about Congo, talk about Namibia, talk about Zimbabwe, what is now Zimbabwe, South Africa, they murdered and slaughtered African people day after day after day to take that land, and still stealing the gold, the coltan, the uranium, the animals, anything that is there, so that African people are the most impoverished in the world, and the British are the most wealthy, and white people wherever we are. And so that's why it has to be reparations. And to see what white people have done, I just want to say, that it talks about that, that African men and women were raped by the British. They were raped, not just raped, but tortured by putting glass and animals and insects into the vaginas of women and into the rectum of men. Over and over again, they took the entire Kikuyu people who were leading the struggle for independence and put them behind barbed wire and systematically hanged them. 150,000, I think, at least, were hanged. And, this is, like the chairman said, the British who uphold beauty and truth and art and science as the most reasonable, brilliant people on the planet Earth, that they believe, or, all European society is based on this, and there's a particular thing that the British have, that, never get upset, always keep the stiff upper lip, always drinking the tea, and being reasonable, and everybody else is being emotional, and why would that happen, and, just this whole lie of white society. I mean, and just yesterday in Houston, Texas, a white man opened the door of a van of an African family who was going to a coffee shop or something, and just opened fire on them and killed a 7-year-old daughter and seriously injured the mother, and the other child was seriously hurt through the shattering glass of the car, and got away. As far as I know, they haven't found this white man yet. I mean, this is colonialism, and we are the colonizers, and we owe reparations. So, it is very, very profound, and there is no organization that even aspires to overturn imperialism, white power, parasitic capitalism, and put African workers into control over their rightful land and resources, and to bring every other oppressed and colonized person and country and nation with them. That is powerful, and it also offers the ability for white people to come with them. So I want to thank some people that we have raised resources. This is really powerful tonight. I want to thank Ali Ayello, who gave $25. And I want to thank David Rold in Boston, who gave $50 tonight. And David said, long live our brilliant leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela. Jackson Hollingsworth gave $10, said onward to 2019 in full solidarity with this movement that keeps growing and growing. Uhuru. Uhuru. We have Comrade Jackson here in the room. I want to salute Fofi Kibulon, who put in $50 and said appreciation for the Black Power Blueprint from the NPDM IEC, the International Executive Committee members. Uhuru. by President Kalambayi Andanet, and Fofit is one of the members of the leading body of that. Ruby Gittleson put in $25, Unity Through Reparations. It's an honor to support the work of the Black Power Blueprint that is creating the model for positive social economic system led by the African working class and in the deepest interest of all humanity.
Oh,
beautiful
yes.
statement. Seali Moyenda put in $25. And Seali said that he's out there in Oakland. He said, I am donating because as an African, I want to encourage other Africans to make an investment in our future on our own African terms. This is the most important and positive campaign in the world today, a concrete demonstration of Black power. And we have a few more here. Yeah. Akile Anai put in $25, all right, and said salute to Chairman and Deputy Chair, the tremendous work of the Black Power Blueprint, and here's to another year of building Black self-determination. I also want to salute Ben Rosenzweig from, I believe from St. Louis, comrade from the Solidarity Movement, Unity Through Reparations, and Uhuru gave $50 tonight. And Lisa Watson put in $100 tonight. And again,
Allison Haney.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
with $50.
Gave $50. Comrade Ali, Secretary General of the African People's Solidarity Committee. Salute. She says salute to Black Power, forward to many more victories in 2019. Reparations now. So that puts us at. I need a total. Somebody can send me a total.
It's not $530 total. With 470 to go was my count.
470 to go. So we can do this. We can do this. And I also want to say one last thing. Deputy Chair talked about the incredible committee of all the different fronts of the Black Power Blueprint that she is leading. And we also have, as part of that, the funding campaign, which members of the Solidarity are part of. And I know members of the African People's Solidarity Committee are part of some of the other committees as well. So if anybody here tonight wants to join the Black Power Blueprint Committee, we have an email, just email join@blackpowerblueprint.org, join@blackpowerblueprint.org, and somebody will get in touch with you immediately, and you can be part of this dynamic committee that is operating on so many fronts with amazing leaders of this movement. So, just really want to salute. Oh, we have somebody else?
At the top,
Ali Ayello. The Black Power, yes, the Black Power Blueprint is not just another campaign. It is changing the world. Long live the African People's Socialist Party. Uhuru. Ali Ayello. Ali coordinates the birthday fundraisers, which has been one of the most tremendous fundraisers with the participation of hundreds and hundreds of people this year. It's been, it's just been very, very successful, and you can do that as well. So again, email us at join@blackpowerblueprint.org and continue to donate. We want to get to $1,000 tonight. We have, how much more do we have to go?
$470 at the last count.
$470 more dollars. We can do this. And go to blackpowerblueprint.org.
Yes, and I also just want to unite and salute my comrades and my leadership, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela. And for such a tremendous year, 2018 was absolutely incredible. And it's 2018, and the heights that we reached and everything is all thanks to the work that Chairman Omali Yeshitela has been doing for the past 50 years. For the past 50 years in shaping and forming the African People's Socialist Party, and really, just defining, the whole revolutionary movement, recapturing it from the crushing defeat in the 1960s, and taking the reins and never stopping, never folding. And as it's mentioned, the African People's Socialist Party is the only thing like it in the world. It's the last man standing. It is the vanguard, the advanced attachment of the African Revolution, and everything that we did in 2018 was the support, the testimony to, to support that statement, to support that bold statement to the world. And you know, it's very important for African people. This is our project. We lead this. This is the leadership. Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela is the leadership of the Black Power Blueprint Project. And it is African workers in the heart of St. Louis making all of this happen. You know, all this work happen and all of you who make this happen. And it's very important for us to contribute, to support in any way possible by joining these committees and monetarily supporting this project, because it's our project, it's our future that's on the line here. This is what we're talking about for our freedom, independence, self-determination. This is ours. It is for us to take. It is we have to seize it in order to make it all happen. And you guys can support this project today. You guys can support all this incredible work at blackpowerblueprint.org and contribute to this $1,000 goal tonight. But don't just stop there. Like I said, join these committees, continue to give and you just find yourself in a position where you can donate some more. Do that, because this project, as mentioned, is the only thing, you know, it's the only positive thing you see in the world. Chairman is talking about the crisis of imperialism and all of these things that are happening because imperialism is on its last leg and it's lashing out and trying to save its own life, and it gets more and more violent every single day because of that. And then here is the Black Power Blueprint, which is the shining light out of all of that, which is the future, which is the vision, because everything that imperialism is dying, and that we can get so locked in and seeing the death and despair and think that's our reality or our future. And the Black Power Blueprint is an indication of what Africa and African people's future is once we take it for ourselves. But we have to support this project. It is the only thing in the world today that means anything to African people. And the work of the African People's Socialist Party is the only meaningful work. It is the party is the only one talking about revolution, is the only one talking about overturning this entire social system and having the means to be able to do that. And the Black Power Blueprint Project is just another example of that incredible work. So you guys have to get on board and support all the amazing work that's going to come in 2019. You've seen what we are capable of in 2018 based on your support and what the new heights that we're going in 2019. You know, this work is limitless. And it's limitless with your support, and we can go as far as you guys can take us. So we need you guys to go to blackpowerblueprint.org, contribute today. Again, join these committees. I want to say that, you know, just for my own experience and growth and everything in 2018 and experience in building the 7th Congress of the African People's Socialist Party, and we just wrapped up the celebration of the 50-year anniversary of the burning spear. You know, this is what we're doing. This is what is happening over here, and you guys have to be a part of it. It's something tangible. It's something real. You guys can put your hands on it. You can walk into an institution. You can see exactly where your resources go, and you can see, as I said, the future. This is the future. It's the only. This is the only place, the only future. And as Chairman said, struggle is the only option, and this is how we struggle. This is how we win. There is nothing else. There is nothing else but revolution. There is nothing else but Black power and self-determination for African people that's going to free the rest of the planet, and African internationalism that's going to free the rest of the planet. So you guys have to support this. Again, blackpowerblueprint.org is where you need to go. It's very simple.
Uhuru. Let me just add to that. You know, because I think it's really important. I know Akile is talking to everybody, but she's making a special call to Africans. And I want to say that I mentioned the 7th Congress. That was one of the most important things that not only happened this year, but I think it was the most important thing that happened since the 2020 convention of the Negro peoples of the world that was hosted by the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And the party elects our leadership. You know what I mean? We come to a Congress. People struggle over the political report, pass resolutions, say who we want to be, represent us and things like that. There's no secret deal or something like that. Unlike what we saw in the past movements where people just put somebody forward who they just wanted to be forward. You know, people come up and they call on the membership to elect me. I call on the membership to elect me. Other people did that too. So people who know us have the ability to say, I want that person to be my leader. That was one of the magnificent things that was really important. You can't find that. You can't find that in any of the organizations that we're talking about. And this is one of the things that makes what we do now. When we talk about Black Power Blueprint, and even when we talk about Black Power,
You know, and Black Power came out, that was a slogan demand that was really important. 1966, boom, that was an incredible movement. But what did it mean? It meant 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people. Certainly it was a kind of anti-colonial demand, but beyond that, it hadn't been, I mean, Stokely Carmichael and Charles Hamilton wrote a book called Black Power that, it didn't say anything. I mean, it was a liberal document more than anything else. But what did it mean? And the African People's Socialist Party has said that Black power means black state power. Yes. That we have to have our own power, one. So that's anti-colonial. Yes. But we've gone beyond that. We're saying what history has shown us, every place else, is that black state power has to be in the hand of the African working class. Yes. If it's not in the hands of the African working class, you're going to have posers, you're going to have all kinds of corruption and phony stuff that's dominating a movement. The class has to come to power and has to cast out. It has no stakes in oppression, exploiting anybody. It has to cast out all of that stuff. That's why in the African People's Socialist Party, we fought in the black liberation movement all kinds of prejudices against black people, prejudice against black homosexuals, prejudice against black women, prejudice against anything that disrupted, there's prejudice against different ethnic groups on the continent of Africa, because we have to unite the nation in order to win our freedom, and only the African working class can stand above all these other prejudices because it has a stake in overturning the whole system. We've seen over the last period others who are talking about dual power. You've heard that, right? It's one of the things that's annoyed some of us. You know, all of a sudden people have discovered dual power. But dual power is more than just having an institution. It's more than what, for example, the Nation of Islam did. It's under the original Nation of Islam. You know, when there was talk, do for self, that was a real important demand slogan that came from our movement. The Black Panther Party, survival program. But that was a survival program. And the do for self, the institutions of the Nation of Islam did not presuppose that you got to get rid of this system. You got to get it out your life before you can do for yourself. Yes. This, what we talk about dual power, we can spell it D-U-A-L, dual, or we can spell it D-E-U-L, which is a contending, it's actually a fighting power to overturn this relationship, and the party is doing that. Yes. That's the thing that this dual power is about. When we talk about the Black Power Blueprint, it's just not another project. Right. Because if we wanted to do another project, we definitely wouldn't have had to do it the way we did it. We went into St. Louis with this project. And even we did it ourselves. When I say ourselves, you know, that we didn't get the government's monies or anything like that. We built it ourselves, winning solidarity, unity with our communities and solidarity with the peoples of the world in a struggle. And people were conscious of the fact that they're struggling against the relationship that we have to colonial domination by the United States government. That's one of the things that makes it significant. That's why you need to send the money to Black Power Blueprint. That is the revolutionary project. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru, Chairman. And I just want to say that we have raised $810 tonight. I want to thank, let's see, where were we? Kitty Riley, who put in $30.
Uhuru, Kitty.
And Kitty said, Uhuru for this powerful webinar, saluting the party for all the victories in 2018 that were profound. It is an honor to pay reparations to the Black Power Blueprint and strategy for African self-determination and liberation moving forward in 2019. And just salute Comrade Kitty, who is also a leading member of the African People's Solidarity Committee and works directly under Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela on the economic front. Uhuru Solidarity Movement put in $100 tonight. That said, this is from the National Steering Committee of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Long live Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair, and the African People's Socialist Party, unity through reparations. Uhuru. Comrade Maureen Wagner, another leading member of the African People's Solidarity Committee, also put in $100 tonight. And that is congratulations. She says congratulations on all the victories of the Black Power Blueprint in 2018, reparations to African self-determination. Also, Comrade Sandra Forrest put in $25. Out on the West Coast, our comrade another comrade from the African People's Solidarity Committee. Long live the African People's Socialist Party, reparations now. And $25 from Olofin Ikemba.
Olofin,
Yeah, the managing editor, right, of the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru. So we only need $190 more to go. We can do this.
Yes.
We can do this. One person could put that in, but if somebody wants to put in 90, someone who wants to put in 100, or any part of that. Oh, Raya Fogarty put in $10. Raya. African People's Solidarity Committee out in St. Louis, Uhuru. So we've raised $820. We only need 180 to go. So let's do this. Let's make it happen. Let's go over. But we have to at least make the $1,000 tonight.
Uhuru. And we can do that. blackpowerblueprint.org.
So let's turn it back over to Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela.
And I just really want to appreciate the call that Director Akile is making to Africans to really go and donate to your own liberation. So, you know, that's speaking to me too, right? So I am, the chairman and I are going to put in $100, you know, for our own liberation. Yes.
Wow, so we only have $80 more to raise. Thank you, Deputy Chair and Chairman. That's
so, Chairman, what can you tell us about what is the most important thing anyone from the African working class can be doing this year and anywhere in the world?
Well, they should be joining the revolutionary movement. They should be joining the African People's Socialist Party. They should be joining the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. They should be joining the All African People's Development Empowerment Project. They should be joining the African National Women's Organization.
Yes.
They should be supporting the work that's being done by the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. This is part of what Africans should be doing. They should be working with our comrades who there in Atlanta under the leadership of Comrade Naya, who is blazing an amazing path, you know, pushing the burning spear and doing all the work that has to be done there. In Huntsville with Zenzele, the amazing consignment store. You know, people should be participating, donating to it, and going and work there in Huntsville. That's in Alabama, D.C. We're building for African Liberation Day. That's going to be happening in May. In Washington, D.C., and people should be signing up. Sign up with us in Newark and in Seattle, and you know, in Houston, Texas, and St. Petersburg, Florida, and just the various places where we are located, and we've opened the door to participation in so many different ways. You know, Philadelphia. Join us, come and support the furniture store, support the flea market, that the One Africa, One Nation flea market that's there. I'm saying that everybody, Africans, working class, should take control of your own movement, your own destiny by joining the African People's Socialist Party and the various institutions that have been created for that purpose. We mentioned the success of Comrade Akile, her significance, a young woman who forced, you know, instead of going to college and university, said, you know, jumped in and took over this incredible, complex work of agitation and propaganda. We've opened the door for anybody who wants to do something. I mean, like, we've brought people who never had the experience before. You can manage this gym. This is a gym that we've created for the working class. Come in, you can manage this. You can manage the radio station. We've got a radio station. How many opportunities does an African get to come in and run a radio station? You know what I mean? This is the working class that we've opened up these doors for. And so what any African needs, the most important thing that anyone from the African working class can be doing this year, anywhere in the world, is joining the African Revolution. We need you in occupied Tanzania, also known as South Africa. Step forward. We know that everybody who's watching us has not stepped forward, and we know that like every place where Africans are located, trying to build this movement at this time, people come with a tremendous lack of experience in terms of revolutionary organization and what have you, but we'll teach you. We'll teach you, we'll give you the experience. All you have to do is be committed to the liberation of Africa and African people under the leadership of the African working class. If you can do that, you can be successful in this revolutionary movement. So that's what you have to do. You have to join the revolution. All this time for dilly-dallying and thinking that somehow the National Association for the Advancement of Certain People or some other entity like that is going to be able to negotiate our way out of this. People should have learned by now that's not the case. Step forward, join the revolution, join the African People's Socialist Party, join the various institutions and organizations that have been created by the party in order to advance our struggle and to win our freedom. Uhuru.
Uhuru. So we know that what Africans should be doing. So what would you say that white people should be doing?
Well, I think that's an important question because I think, you know, one of the things that we've done is it's been very difficult in many ways for white people to do the right thing, to coin a phrase, Spike Lee. But because you've got this phony leftism, maybe it's not phony. The thing is that a left colonialist is, well, how can you distinguish and what's the difference in a leftist colonizer and a reactionary colonizer? What's the difference in that? You know, so what we're saying is that's made it very difficult because if you look at most of the white people who come to our movement, they've been extremely dissatisfied trying to join the white left. I mean, the white left just left them empty, didn't touch anything, and it couldn't touch anything because it was just by white people and white rights. And they saw all around them, you know, what was happening in the world and what white people were doing to peoples around the world. And the white left didn't make any difference at all. We've seen the white Communist Party who were in government in France bulldoze houses of so-called African immigrants and commit all kinds of offenses and things like that. So what we're saying is that white people should join this movement. And I mean that literally. And if you join it, you know, should join the Solidarity Movement and come into the African People's Solidarity Committee, to Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And if you can't do that publicly, do it secretly. And donate, contribute, because you can be a part of the revolution, but not just some loose cannon. You can be a part of the revolution under the leadership of the African forces. You can be a part of the African revolution taken into the white communities. You can end this isolation. You can get rid of this phony caricature of struggle that is made, that calls itself the white left or the leftists or the anti-imperialist white forces by joining the revolutionary project. That's what you need to do. You need to, reparations is the fundamental question because it is, we tired of people who just like us. You know, the thing we're talking about material solidarity and a way of taking resources that's come from the African world, taking those resources, not all of them, because you ordinary white people don't have all of them, have very little of it, although you are closer to it than I am. And then you can begin this transfer of resources, and not just in terms of money, skills and other kinds of things can also be brought to the revolutionary project. But you need to join the movement. That's essentially what you need to do, and you need to support Black Power Blueprint. Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
I just want to make one other elaboration, if I may. Because I have been to Moscow and to a conference, international conference of the peoples for self-determination. People came from all around the world. And we're trying to help people understand that African people do not need sympathy. And for you just to like us, and just to know that Africans are treated badly. You must support our struggle for self-determination as African people worldwide. You must understand and unite with the fact, recognition, that African people constitute a single nation that has been dispersed at gunpoint all around the world. We have been taken into captivity And in many instances, we suffer with false national consciousness, but you got to go beyond just some charity kind of politic, because that doesn't do anything for anybody but the one who's given the charity. It makes you feel good and what have you, but it doesn't change the conditions and circumstances of the oppressed. And we're asking you to move beyond that and to unite with the struggle of African people for self-determination. We intend to liberate, unify all 12 million square miles of the continent of Africa and African people around the globe, and to repossess those resources that should be coming to Africa and could be coming to African people, but instead going to Apple and going to Microsoft and going to these manufacturers of all kinds of technology and production all around the world. It can come back to Africa, and that is going to mean liberation for Africa, for African people, the destruction of a capitalist system, and the liberation for all of the working peoples on the planet Earth. And you have been called on to join with that.
What a way to end this tonight, and to look forward to the future of liberation and an end to this vicious, violent system that is based on stealing the resources of humanity and committing the most hideous violence against African people and the majority of the people on the planet Earth. I want to thank some more people. I'm sure that we are over. We've made our goal.
Right.
So I want to thank Bakari Olatunji from Uhuru Foods and Pies out in Oakland, and he said Uhuru means freedom in our lifetime. Nana Yaw Grant, Bakri gave $25. Diane Tournay gave $25. Nana Yaw Grant, $50. And he said, Uhuru, salute my leadership, Chairman Omali and Deputy Chairwoman Ona. Thank you for all your money years leading up, I think it's supposed to be many years, leading up to the revolution. Thank you for the Black Power Blueprint Northern region in the revolution.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Yes.
Rose Latoul from the Uhuru Solidarity Movement in Oakland. Uhuru, I'm returning reparations from Oakland, white solidarity with Black Power in Oakland, California, calling on all Bay Area people to join in material solidarity and contribute tonight and join the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Rose Latoul, $5 tonight. Uhuru. So I know that we have made our goal.
Yes.
I know we've made our goal tonight. And before we end, I do want to thank, oh yeah, we've raised $1,025 tonight.
All right, comrades.
I want to thank a few more people who have given, who gave the last few days of December that we haven't been able to thank on the air yet. So let me just get to this. Some of the great donations came in from Bruce in Roubaix, France, who gives actually is a contact of Secretary General Louise Kinshasa in France, and he gives a monthly contribution of $25 a month. So we want to thank him. That came in on the 27th. Also, Alyssa in Canada, who gave $69 and has given many, many times, who is one of our top donors and recurring donors. So we want to salute you, Comrade Alyssa in Vancouver, Canada. Marnie in Georgia gave an anonymous amount, so I don't have that here. Another anonymous donor in Danvers, Massachusetts. Also, David Redbeard Reardon in San Francisco, California, I think yesterday, put in $141. And Helen in Ireland put in $28 a couple of days ago. So we just really want to thank you, salute all of you for this tremendous victory, and to just, salute everyone again who let us make the goal of surpassing $1,000 tonight. And so we only have $19,000 more in this particular phase of this struggle. So we're getting there.
Can I just say too, our Black Power Steering Committee meeting will be happening this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to participate and join that committee, go to joinblackpowerblueprint.org and put your name in there and your phone number so we can get you that information so you could be a part of this dynamic steering committee. We're really going to be doing it really big in 2018.
Yes.
2019, I'm sorry. We did it big in 2019. In 18, we're going to do it bigger in 2019. Uhuru.
Uhuru. And I want to echo what everyone has said. I deeply appreciate everyone who donated tonight, and especially white people who are coming into the fold and paying reparations, becoming part of this strategic, brilliant vision of a liberated Africa and African people. I want to thank Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela. Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Director of Agriculture, Akili Anayi, and Chairwoman Penny Hess of the African People Solidarity Committee. Uhuru.
I have one more statement to read.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that I didn't read. Raya Fogarty said, reparations to the Black Power Blueprint is the most honest and revolutionary thing white people can do to forward Black Power economics. African people have the absolute right to self-determination.
Uhuru. Thank you, Comrade Raya. So on point. And Uhuru Solidarity Movement will be back next week at this time slot, broadcasting from the Uhuru Solidarity Movement YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about the issue of this abrupt climate change, this catastrophic climate change that we're seeing throughout the world, caused by imperialism, quietly as it's kept, parasitic capitalism, and colonialism. So we'll be discussing that next week at this very same time slot, 8 p.m. on the YouTube channel on Tuesday. And the Uhuru Solidarity Movement will be broadcasting every alternate Tuesday nights. So that's the second and the fourth Tuesday of every month. For the foreseeable future, we'll be here at the Uhuru Solidarity Movement YouTube channel. So please do subscribe to both the Uhuru Solidarity Movement channel and the Black Power Blueprint channel. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and get notifications. And as was said earlier, you can join this work. You can become a part of this brilliant and positive vision of liberated Africa and African people by going to, of the Black Power Blueprint, and you can send us an email at join@blackpowerblueprint.org. Again, that's join@blackpowerblueprint.org. And unless there is anything else from our amazing...
we have a couple of announcements. Yes, before, any last words?
Go ahead, come on. Move it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
let's move it.
all right. Thank you to everyone who has contributed to our amazing guests. And I want to close it out by saying, as always, unity through reparations! Uhuru!